Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the UBC Extended Learning Info session on UBC Certificate in AI Skills Accelerator for IT. I would like to acknowledge that we are UBC's Vancouver campus, and where I'm joining from today is situated on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Musqueam people. I would also like to acknowledge that you're joining us today from many places near and far, and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. Let me now show you the agenda for today's session. We'll start with some housekeeping tips, then introduce ourselves, then learn about various aspects of the program. After the presentation, our panelists will also answer your questions during the Q&A session. For user experience, your audio and video and chat features have been turned off. You can choose between speaker view or gallery view. And you can, for questions and polls, you can open a new tab in your browser or a second device and type in slido.com, which we'll be using Slido to administer these. Enter the event code UBC AI for IT. This session is being recorded. All the participants will receive an email with a recording link, and you can also access the link from UBC Extended YouTube channel after. Moving forward on to introductions. My name is Emily Wu, Program Leader at UBC Extended Learning. I will be moderating today's session. And joining me today is my colleague, Enray Vasquez, Director of Academic Services at UBC Extended Learning. And Ray is involved in the development of many innovative certificate programs at UBC Extended Learning. She is involved in the development of programs including Certificate in AI Digital Media, and oversees the program design, market research analysis, learning and curriculum design, learning technology, among others. I will let Enray say a few words about herself.
Just wanted to say welcome, everyone. It's a very important time in the world of AI. I think a lot of industries and a lot of people are, even if they don't want to, are being exposed to generative AI and AI. And I'm very pleased to be here with our subject matter experts as well. And welcome to our program. I think you'll learn a lot from today's session.
Thank you, Enray. I'm delighted today to be joined by our instructors and lead course authors who are teaching this program. They are Ricardo Trujeque, Daniel Lawrence, and Kelly Shiohira. I will introduce them one by one. Ricardo is a versatile entrepreneur and a passionate educator whose 20 years career intersects technology, communication, and education. He's co-founded several software that span digital media, content distribution, marketing automation, language assessment, and more. Currently, immersive environments for training and education. Ricardo, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Just that it's a pleasure to be here. I mean, right now, you already mentioned a little about my background, but I have the luck to be a co-founder, as you mentioned, in several technology companies. All of those ones since the 2002s, with the risk of dating myself there. Been working actually closely with artificial intelligence at different degrees. The vision that I've been bringing to the courses that we've been developing and teaching is mostly from the product manager perspective. So basically, the person that identifies the possibilities of different implementations, different technologies, and working very close with IT, HR, marketing, sales, etc., trying to make sure that everybody is marching, let's put it that way, towards the same roadmap. So it's a pleasure to actually bring this passion for technology literacy that I've been building, because we are living in really transformational times with artificial intelligence. And I will welcome to actually have these conversations with you in these courses. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricardo. And next, I would like to introduce Lawrence. He's a freelance full-stack web developer and business analyst, as well as an angel investor, entrepreneur, and mentor. He's worked as a freelance technology consultant since 1999 and has advised dozens of startups, as well as international banks, hedge funds, and real estate investment funds. Lawrence, would you like to say a few words? Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here, first and foremost. I have been a practicing data scientist for about 35 years. It wasn't called that for a really long time, but my career began on Wall Street, and I called myself a software engineer when I worked on Wall Street, and I developed automated valuation systems for stocks and bonds and different kinds of assets. And the theory behind all that is mostly linear systems and linear regression. And that, as it happens, is what underpins all of machine learning. And it's kind of the first wave of stuff that goes on with artificial intelligence. And so that's nice and convenient. I've seen kind of all the different epochs of computers, of client server and the internet and cloud computing and data. And the term data science kind of it started to get kicked around, I guess, around 2015 or so, about 10 years ago. And so I bring all that to bear on these courses, for better or worse. And there you go. Thanks.
Thank you, Lawrence. And next, I would like to introduce Kelly Shiohira. Kelly is the director of the Global Science of Learning Education Network and director of Impact at App Inventor Foundation. She's a strategist recognized for her work in area of literacy, connecting education to the world of work, and the use of AI and technology in education. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, I hope you can hear me. I'm not sure you can
Yes,
see
we
me.
can. Yes, we
Okay.
can. Thank
Oh,
you.
great. No, sorry. My apologies. I'm joining today from Japan, so it's quite early in the morning. So, yes, my name is Kelly Shiohira. Thank you, Emily, for the lovely introduction. It's wonderful to be here today with all of you. My role in this space is really thinking about AI from the ethical perspective, and particularly the intersection of AI and education. And broadly what that means for our societies, the world of work, and how we need to change how we think about AI literacy and we think about literacy in general, in order to keep up with and meet the demands of not just today, but tomorrow. So that's a lot of what we do in the course. And I think with your permission, Emily, I'll leave it there and wait for the questions. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you, Kelly. Now, we would love to learn a bit more about our audience today. If you could go to slido.com and type in UBC AI for IT. We wanted to learn about what best describes your IT role. If you could let us know if you're in a managerial role, a technical role, or in a leadership role. We'll keep the poll open, but it's great to see that majority is in a technical role. We also have folks joining us in the leadership and managerial role. Thank you. The next question is, if you could select up to 3 AI topics that you're most interested in. So these are the core tracks in the program. And we would love to hear the top 3 AI topics that you're most interested in. Thank you. And I'm sure your selection could possibly change as well as we learn more about these topics later on. Great. All right, I'll keep the polls open and we'll move on to the program overview. So all the micro courses in this certificate program is 100% online with 2 weekly 1.5-hour live online sessions with an instructor. All these sessions are recorded, so you can refer back to them, or in case you miss one, you can watch them later. Each micro course is 2 weeks long, and the certificate consists of 12 micro courses plus a capstone. So you can choose from 20 micro courses, but you only need to do 12 plus a capstone micro course to gain this to get the certificate. You can complete the certificate within 18 months for a total of 150 hours. The program is aligned with UBC IT's AI competencies framework to equip professionals with key skills in AI, machine learning, data literacy, automation, governance, cybersecurity, and enterprise integration. You can choose from tracks that emphasize managerial, technical, or leadership skills and customize your AI learning pathway accordingly. Learners are expected to spend 12 to 14 hours per micro course, completing all activities, including attending live sessions online. Micro courses from each track are sequential, so you can take them, they build on one another. In terms of grading requirements, you will be assessed on the successful completion of weekly activities, including quizzes and contribution to discussions, as well as applied case study assignments. Assignments are marked based on the matrix using the scoring guide with the instructor comments, and they provide feedback in the live sessions as well as in writing for the final project. And the passing grade is 70%. Now I'm going to invite Ray to speak about how we deliver this program and its target audience across IT roles.
Okay, so the AI Skills Accelerator for IT professionals was designed specifically for the busy professional. How to upskill quickly when you're in a you have a full-time job and you have other commitments after work and or even in your personal life is there's just no time. And what we've done here is we've created 2-week courses, as Emily described. With the first course, the required tracks, we have different tracks for specific competencies. The first track is AI Foundations. And in AI Foundations, the required micro course is the concepts and tools, which Ricardo, he developed the main AI Foundations track. And then later you can choose from other micro courses that we have in the Foundations track, the cybersecurity, data literacy, strategic decision-making, workflow automation, governance and policy, and then our final track, integration in enterprise. The Foundations track is 3 proficiency levels. We have the foundations or fundamentals level, the introduction. Then we have the proficient level, and then we have a mastery level. Each micro course is 2 weeks long. And what we've done is we've intentionally made the learning very intense and short, but there's a takeaway in every micro course, meaning that we have a mini capstone for every micro course so that you can build towards the final. We actually have a capstone project at the end. It's a required capstone to get the actual UBC certificate, which is a UBC Senate approved certificate for the AI Skills Accelerator for IT professionals. And there's we call them like two tracks of IT learners, the technical and the sort of leadership, support, not as technical. I'm not going to say not technical because I was in the leadership IT department for many years. So I don't like when they say, oh, you're not technical. You're technical enough, but you're not like hands-on technical. So we do have that in mind in our micro courses as we've designed them. And I hand that back over to you, Emily.
Ray, would you like to speak on also on the target audiences here?
Happy to, yes.
Yeah.
So the way we've designed, as I said before, there are in the IT space, it isn't just one type of role. There's many roles that overlap and many roles that are specifically leadership with some technical capabilities or understandings, and vice versa. We have very technical folks who are also in the leadership roles or supporting or providing recommendations to leadership. So what we've done here in the role categories, as you can see in the left column, we have managerial senior leadership that have specific roles, as you can see in the middle column, which combination of managers, project leads, directors, or CIOs. And then the competencies is the important piece. So we are focusing on strategic AI roadmaps, governance, and these are folks that lead teams in AI adoption. And I'm not going to go through everything, but in the technical track, developers and engineers, those are very hands-on technical expertise, those with technical expertise who want to come away with, hey, I need to actually do something. I need to be able to apply and implement this in my day-to-day, in my projects, etc. And our SMEs have that type of expertise, which I'm very happy to see that. And then we have data analytics and security and compliance, which is the cybersecurity area, topics, and then operations and support, which are our service desk leads, our front-facing, public-facing folks, and those who manage the operational day-to-day and workflow specialists.
Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome.
Now we will get into specific tracks. So I will invite our SMEs, Ricardo, Lawrence, and Kelly, to speak at a high level for each of the core tracks that they teach. Ricardo will start with AI foundations.
Right. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. When we talk about AI foundations, I just want to clarify that this is not about just abstract theory here that we use. No. It's definitely, we go in these courses, we actually help build clarity, because we're living in a time, particularly during the past year, where finally regular people are getting familiar with artificial intelligence. And that sometimes brings a false literacy feeling that, oh, I know about AI, so I don't need to understand the basics or understanding the difference between regular automation, AI power automation, AI agents, and such and such. No, but that's in it, because that false literacy actually creates a false expectative of where are you located in the possibility to really implement it strategically, artificial intelligence in anything that you do. So these courses actually have been developed to turn you into a strategic AI implementer, if I can call it that way. It is really designed for all professionals that are sitting in the intersection of using technology and the business side of things. So we really address anybody in a rank of organization, I mean, for any position, from IT managers, analysts, digital leads, transformation professionals, even developers. Although the foundational courses, just following up on what Henry was mentioned before, although these foundation courses, we don't go into software development in itself by coding. it's been very effective for software developers that suddenly are moving into the business side of the organization or the department. So as I mentioned, I mean, things that you're going to be learning here in these courses is what AI is, what it isn't, difference between automations, simple automation, AI-powered systems, how to identify real AI opportunities in your organization. Again, it doesn't matter where you are actually located in the ranks, because the big idea is that any participant in an organization, a department, or even working as an individual professional, you're an expert in what you do. So you can identify, we provide the framework so you can actually help you identify the different elements, thinking about workflows, thinking about processes that you daily actually work with, and identify what elements are actually viable for automation, what elements are viable for actually to turn it into an AI agents, and then we go and do it. Particularly because, I mean, we go from core AI concepts, as says in the slide, that is from tools, business processes, organizational strategies for building AI literacy, to foundational knowledge that required before advancing to the special strikes that come after, more technical, where you can start choosing. So we use every one of these courses is 2 weeks, as Emily was actually mentioning, and each week has one live session attached to it. And in that live session, we dedicate the first quarter of the session to review the most important aspects of what is in the week, in the content of the week. But the rest is all hands-on. And yes, I said we don't do software developing, but we use heavily no-code tools, low-code tools, and even vibe coding. I mean, we start actually working with the different applications that exist out there to help you actually go from, first of all, understanding, identifying the possibilities of how to automate, or how to approach, or how to implement artificial intelligence in different elements of what you do, to create a framework, create a plan around it, thinking about roadmaps, thinking as a product manager, and then into an execution that will allow you to actually even generate small prototypes of what you're thinking, because we're living in different times. It's not like in the old days that I remember going through, where prototyping, it was almost financially impossible to do. It was very costly to do. And again, we are not eliminating the technical people. On the contrary, I think we are at times that is key and essential, the role of the software developer, although it's changing. But now anybody in our organization can actually bring those ideas from more than just a conceptual thinking into an actual prototyping level, let's put it that way. So then the IT and more professional team can actually come and analyze the requirements, looking for security. You know about that. So that's the process of AI Foundations. It's not just an entry-level course that we're just going to go through a lot of theory. No, it's very hands-on, but it's very hands-on, built on strategic thinking about bringing everybody together to follow governance, to follow, are we ready for artificial intelligence implementation? And then looking at how to properly strategize that approach. And from there, once you have that foundations, then you have the possibility to continue your learning path into more technical or more business-oriented aspects. So I'm just going to leave it at that, just to allow for questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricardo. Next, I would like to invite Lawrence to speak on the next 4 tracks.
Hello. My courses, I think, exclusively follow Ricardo's. And so my area of focus really regards, as opposed to strategic, I would say tactical. Tactically, how can we solve a problem using today's tools? So when you reach my course, you have spent quality time with Ricardo to learn some really important cornerstone fundamentals about how machine learning works and AI. And so there's a lot that is brought into day one of the material that I teach, which is a great luxury. It puts us in a situation where we really can kind of put our engineers' hats on and talk in very practical terms about, how can we take that theory and put it to work to solve something. Anne Ray mentioned that in all of these courses, there is a capstone, and I think I'll use my personal time right this second to emphasize to all of you how important those are. These are very short runways. These are courses that are a couple of weeks. We have limited opportunity to interact live like this. And so really, for my courses, it's all about getting you skilled up with what you need to know, so that you can get to work as early as possible on the capstone and finish it successfully. We put a whole lot into that. As a group, we put an awful lot of thought into what that capstone is and what we're trying to achieve from it. And so it's hardly me alone. I'm part of an extremely capable team with an awful lot of experience in educating professionals like yourselves. And what I bring is just kind of, the mechanical know-how. It's a cog in the wheel in the grand scheme of things, but I really like it a lot, and I'm thrilled. So beyond that, I just finished teaching a data literacy course. And so to put some context, using just that one as an arbitrary example, because it's fresh in my mind, our capstone was about repairing a malfunctioning fraud detection tool for a credit card company. And very real world, very practical. And I was really impressed with the last set of students' quality of work that they delivered. So my expectations are kind of high about what I'll continue to see in the future. So if I see you in that course, then it's a bit of a high bar. It's exciting stuff, and very applicable to all manner of classes of problems for the future. Another thing that's on my mind these days, down at number 4, is workflow automation, and it got my attention. That a lot of you share that interest. And so a couple of things I can talk about with regards to workflow automation is that in probably every course that I'm involved in, I'm able to talk about that material from an agentic perspective. And so it doesn't really matter what class of AI or machine learning we're talking about. There are ways to purpose and repurpose those tools to make a workflow agentic, to make it autonomous in its ability to reach a decision and fit inside of a workflow somewhere. And so that's something that's kind of frontal lobe for me, and has been for 8 or 9 months with the kind of tool sets that have come together. And so anyway, it's something that I like a lot and really enjoy teaching. I have a few decades of practical experience on that basis, from, kind of all different perspectives. All right, I'll hand the floor over.
Thank you, Lawrence. So next, I would like to invite Kelly to speak on the 6th track, which is governance and policy.
Thanks, Emily. I think one of the things that we've seen kind of emerge together with AI is this very sharp divide between AI evangelists and AI alarmists, like people who really want to use AI and people who really, really don't, or who do it reluctantly, or who do it with quite a lot of fear about what the future might hold and what the future might bring. So what we try to do in the AI governance policy space is really think about a little bit of the social science perspective on AI. How do we make responsible decisions around artificial intelligence that will reassure our clients and our communities that the use of artificial intelligence is proportional, which means that there's always a cost to using artificial intelligence, whether that is an intellectual cost or a social cost or a monetary cost or an environmental cost. And so AI governance and policy is all about how you can make sure within your organizations that your use of AI is responsible and proportional, that the benefits outweigh the cost in very tangible ways. So that's the point. So we'll cover ethics, we'll cover a little bit of why people are so alarmist about artificial intelligence, where the pressure points are of uncertainty, and how you can respond to them as a leader or a strategist in your organization to make sure that both your organizational management is ethical and that your clients are reassured.
Thank you, Kelly. I will now, the next track is on AI and cybersecurity. Our instructor, Travis, unfortunately has a conflict, so I will ask and Ray to share us a little bit about that track.
Great, thank you. Thankfully, I have been involved very closely with the curriculum and working with all our wonderful instructors, and actually helped build the different tracks. So I am familiar with this AI cybersecurity track. What I can say is, if you are a cybersecurity specialist at the moment, or if you're leading teams, or part of your organizational planning is around the security of your digital organization, digital parts of your organization, how does AI impact that piece? And because things are happening very rapidly, Travis, our course author and instructor, is very much a cyber specialist. And I'm just going to give you a snippet of the types of topics his courses have. Like, why do adversarial and data vulnerabilities matter? His course will talk about modern AI systems that face adversarial attacks, such as prompt injection, where what that means is input hijacked LLM behaviors, where classic machine learning evasion that alters inputs to dodge classifiers, meaning, so you might have some set of rules or regulations set in there, but hackers with the help of AI powered tools can actually go around these. And what are the types of things that you can do to prevent that? And how do you look at your data sets or your existing rules and criteria, like to look at it as with the lens of an ethical hacker? We have 3 levels. The first course is an introductory to understanding the kinds of tools that are available. The second course goes into real-time threat detection, where we dive more deeply into very hands-on practical labs. We will look at AI and threat detection, phishing, malware, anomaly detection, false positives, and AI threat detection, doing deep dive using Suricata, Zeek, Wazoo, and ElkSec. These are, you don't need to know that now, but these are the types of tools that are introduced. And the final one is advanced defense strategies. And the topics in the mastery course level is advanced threat intelligence models, looking into predictive indicator risks, autonomous agents for cyber defense, agent misfire risks, adversarial red teaming, and AI. Again, you don't need to know all of that. SOAR and large language model integration. And then we have introduced pieces around, so Kelly's also provided us curriculum in all the other micro courses. You'll see pieces of governance and policy as it relates to that specific track. So back to you, Emma.
Thanks, and Ray. Now I would invite Ricardo to talk about the last AI capstone.
Yeah, just briefly on this one. I mean, Laura's already really well explained the importance of the capstones on every one of these courses. But on this one in particular, we try to what we're trying to do is to provide an appropriate environment where, after going through all the courses that you have actually selected in your learning path, then you come to the point that, you know what, I'm going to integrate everything that I learned, or the different aspects that I learned, or the different aspects that I found now that I'm interested in, into a very cohesive project. And then we work, we support you in working towards that goal. And that could be a real implementation that you want to actually pursue, or it could be something that you're just passionate about and you're thinking about it, and you just want to actually evaluate it from an implementation perspective and do it. Or just it could be just a fictional environment that you just want to create just to continue actually enhancing your the practical implementation of the learning that you have actually gone through through the previous courses. So that's basically what that AI capsule is, kind of like the final final stop, where, okay, you've gone through all this. Let's not just keep it theoretical or even practical. Let's bring it together cohesively into achieving something. So that's basically what is behind the AI capstone.
Thank you, Ricardo. So now we're going to into Q&A. So for those who have entered Q&A here in Zoom, I would invite you to post those questions in Slido. So please join us at slido.com and enter UBC AI for IT for Q&A. So we have a few questions that have come in. We will start with the prerequisite requirement. Some of you have had taken foundations course or fundamentals course with us or with another organization. Would that be accepted as a prerequisite? And Ray, do you want to speak on that?
Yeah, so if you've taken our existing extended learning foundational track, that in our because we offer AI certificates in other topics, we would accept that as a prerequisite. But as Ricardo mentioned in his foundations course, we really would like, if you haven't taken our existing program, for our learners to take our foundations track, because it is very much needed. Let's just say the foundations, or it's what you need to be able to get into the other tracks. And what we've seen in the past is what could be foundations, the definition of foundations for another, like let's say a MOOC or something you've taken in another institution, might be quite different from what we consider as foundations. So the answer is yes, if it's the extended learning AI program offerings that we already have, the fundamentals in our AI and digital media certificate and or our micro certificate. But elsewhere, we do not accept it as a prerequisite. Back to you, Emily.
Yes. Sorry, do we need to complete 13 courses within a specific time frame? The answer is no. We have courses, all the courses in the program scheduled, and they approximately they're over a span of 12 to 18 months. So it is up to you how long you would like to take to complete the program. The next question is technical. Is LLM part of the coursework in implementing agents in the production systems? Would anyone like to chime in, Lawrence?
Yeah. Hello. It's for Chenille.
Sorry?
I'm reading the question. Sorry.
Yes.
So quick answer, Chenille. The LLM is absolutely part of the curriculum. It does not dominate the curriculum, and so we want to kind of keep, for purposes of this call, keep in mind that we're talking about machine learning and artificial intelligence. So LLMs kind of fit in one half of that. Of that, it's a class of AI And Ricardo covers a lot of material in the theory, and I want to deliver the goods on the practical implementation examples of everything he covers in the theory. So, so we've got kind of a ring-fenced amount of time. Having said that, that tends to be what students are overwhelmingly interested in. And so, for example, in the AI implementation course, the capstone is based on LLM. And so that puts a lot more weight on that particular technology than the other classes that we cover. And so, where I do my best to match up the student's interest with what the thing is. And that one, for the last 24 months at least, has kind of run out in front. And so with regards to LLMs in my courses, you'll see things, you'll see RAG implementations, you'll see function calling, whatever the vanguard is at that moment in present tense, we'll talk about that. There was, and that covers that question. While I've got the floor, Ian Douglas underneath has a question. With AI agents, usage-based pricing, and on-prem hybrid models reemerging, don't think the classic multi-tenant subscription SaaS model is over any thought. No, that's not true, but there are more choices available. And so a good practical example of that would be, since we're just talking about LLMs, you've got these bulge bracket providers of LLMs, and that can and will continue to be SaaS to the end of time. But at the exact same time, some of those providers have made available LLMs that can fit like on socks and can fit like self-contained and Internet of Thing projects, really, really small, like under 4 gigabytes. And so they neatly can fit on an IC solution, that you might pack up and ship out and have some kind of a Gen AI, agentic subsystem that's part of a greater solution. And so there's both kind of the same companies that are real entrenched in multi-tenant is kind of like their main revenue model. They've got these other things. And then kind of splitting the difference are things like what come out of the open source community, where what would traditionally have always been multi-tenant only, you could take that and install it on premise. And in my class, you'll be hands-on with the platform just like that, by the way. So those are my thoughts.
Great. I would like to integrate AI into a software application that optimizes mineral process control targets. Will this program give me the skills and tools to do this?
Should I keep going? I can answer that.
Sure. Please go ahead.
I want to give you a good black and white answer, and that's hard to do. Because of the following: we don't require programming skills, and so when I lecture and in the online materials, those are squarely focused on an audience that is not being coerced into having to learn how to write code in Python. And at the exact same time, the way you're phrasing your question, that's kind of what's in my brain right this second is like, there's some great ways to do that, using tools like Python. So to try to mitigate that and to be as forthcoming with you as possible, in the classroom, I will stay kind of inside of a circle that does not veer into structured programming and that kind of thing. But at the exact same time, I'm going to show examples using tools that I built that exist in the public domain in GitHub as open source code projects. And so everything that I show you that's in the pre-recorded video content, that's in the live sessions, it's part of the capstone, all that is a managed code that's open source that you can use as scaffolding to do things like what you just described. So, AI software application that optimizes mineral process control targets. That kind of smells like an agentic AI thing. And there's at least 3 examples off the top of my head that are sitting inside of the GitHub organization where all these materials come from, and it's all kind of recent. So if you felt so compelled, you can fork any of those and repurpose it for what you're describing. And so that's my qualified yes for you. Yeah.
Thank you. We have some specific questions, folks telling us about their background. So I'm a PMP business manager guiding to build strategy on how best we can improve efficiency. I'm not a technical person who specializes in project delivery. So I'm guessing the question is if the program's the right fit. Or
yeah, I
Ricardo?
think particularly the foundations programs, and there's from there a pathway towards strategy programs. Those will be ideal for that profile. So definitely that will fit, because we do touch on technical aspects, but again, we don't go into the software development side of that. I mean, there's different pathways and different profiles that can actually fit in a technology organization. So the ones that I work with, as I mentioned, I bring the product manager perspective. So we're not going to be writing code, but we are going to actually be using different tools available to actually manage automation, for example, using N8N, the cloud, or even locally. So we give you a really good, more than entry level, so you can really execute some of your strategies without having to actually go into software development. But if you are then going into the path of software development, then you go into the hands of Lawrence after that. I mean, just really going in depth into that one. But for those that are more into the business side of things, there's definitely pathways for that.
I just wanted to add as well that if you take the AI foundations in this particular certificate for AI skills accelerator, you can also go to our other our AI in digital media certificate, where we have micro certificates that Ricardo and Lawrence teach. But if you're specifically looking for strategy, we have micro certificates, which are 4-week courses of 8-week, 2 courses of 4 weeks. So it's 8 weeks for a micro certificate, and you can specialize. Like there's personalization, there's automation in that particular certificate, in the AI and digital media certificate pathway. So there's
That's
options.
right. That's right. We have a range of AI offerings. If you go to our website, you'll see others that may be also an option for non-IT folks. This is a question from JJ. I have business degree, work on business processes to improve efficiency. I don't have technology. Does this course have 12 non-tech courses to get a certificate? I feel like maybe this program is not the right fit for you, JJ, because this program is specifically targeted for IT professionals. So we do have another program, AI and digital media, with a range of other courses that might be a better fit for you.
Yeah, similar to what I just said earlier, JJ.
Yeah.
It's a certificate in digital AI and digital media, which Ricardo and Lawrence also teach. But I think specifically Ricardo's courses, which is in automation personalization, and there's a fundamentals track as well. So take a look at that one. That one might be a better fit.
Next question, will you touch base on Microsoft Copilot implementations, its capabilities?
Yeah, I'll field that. Hi, Dinesh. What I definitely, I have a lot of thoughts on Copilots. There's not a capstone project where there's an implementation for Copilot. So the hard answer to your question is no. But having said that, Copilots are what I would think of as the vanguard of technology these days with regards to generative AI. I was a beta tester of GitHub Copilot, which is owned by Microsoft. And so that goes back about 4 years ago. And I've watched the arc of that product. The reason it's interesting to talk about in the classroom is because there's a lot of history. There's several years of history specifically on GitHub Copilot. That was the very first in the world of Microsoft. And the other ones for Excel, and those followed later on. And in all cases, Microsoft is a very successful business. And these are products, and they have to fit somewhere in the product portfolio that makes sense. They need to be accretive to income, or they need to generate synergy on their own, that generates demands. Like somehow the products have to earn their keep is the point. And I've watched Microsoft experiment with, they're trying to answer that question still today, 4 years later. And so, for example, I've seen the quality of service ebb and flow over time. I've seen their approach to dealing with your frustrations as a customer ebb and flow. And it's clear to me they're finding their way. They're figuring out how these things fit into the broader world of Microsoft. And so it makes for good live session material to talk about. So you'll certainly know a lot more about them when you come out of the course than you did coming into it.
If I can add just something to Lawrence's also, because I don't know if the background of Dinesh is also maybe it's more on the business side. Just a comment that in the second course of the foundations one, we actually talk heavily about Copilot, because one thing that I actually notice is that although we bring a lot of tools into the mix of what we showcase and start working with, there's always people that are asking, well, you know what? In my organization, I'm limited to Copilot because that's what they have. And so we spent a lot of time actually looking at Microsoft Copilot, the limitations and some benefits, and looking at the current strategy of Microsoft. You may have noticed that suddenly Microsoft is allowing Grok, Claude, and several other models actually to almost natively actually be integrated into it. Because it's moving into like a multimodal platform. That's their strategy. So we talk on that, and we actually do certain exercises related to it. So just in case that is a situation where you are in an organization where on a business side, you are kind of, well, that's the only tool that I have or that I can actually use, then we do consider those aspects in the course.
Thank you, Ricardo. Next question. Do you know which core track or micro cores we would cover at LLM and RAG?
I guess all of us could answer it, but that's going to be the AI implementation course, and it's week 3 of that course. Oh, one other thing. Hey, by the way, before I let the floor go, there's those code projects I was talking about. There's a dedicated project specifically for introducing RAG that uses Pinecone and something else that's kind of cool. So Pinecone's a vector database, and it's all put together with common Python libraries.
Next question is very technical. So I'll have maybe Lawrence or Ricardo feel free to jump in and
oh yeah, I'll do that. So there's two in my courses. There's 2 hard implementations of agentic AI. Keep in mind that again, I want to emphasize coding's not required in the course. And so, like the RAG example that I just described, I will demonstrate that running software in a live session, and then make sure that anyone with continued interest knows where to go and get it, and has seen enough of what's inside of that repo to be able to dive into it and get pretty productive. But that's on your time. That's out of the classroom. Okay. With agentic AI, it's exactly the same thing. So there's a really good exercise in the last week of the course where we have a fictitious online university, and so the agentic AI, it has to do with interacting with a student prospect, just like what we're doing right now. And the goal of the agentic AI is to compel you to register for a course. And so would you like me to? The point of the project is to demonstrate how that gets implemented. And so to that extent, what we talk around um, the varying capabilities and nuances between LLMs. Not Windsurf. Yes on Cloud Code. Yes on Cursor. No on Windsurf. Anti-gravity. Never heard of it. And so it's kind of hit and miss. You have a real specific question. So some of those are in there, some are not.
Just
Thanks.
to complement also for the foundations, we do go into vibe coding to a point. Obviously, we don't go into analyzing all the detailed aspects. That will be if when you go into the Lawrence's course. But we do actually analyze, for example, processes that you can identify, and that's where the capstones also come into play. Process that you identify that you're working with, and then we use, for example, from Google AI Studio to Lovable, Bolt, Cursor slightly. It's more for development, but we touch on all those aspects. So you, at the end, you come up and start actually developing little tools that will make your life easier at some point, but also looking into the potential dangers of shadow AI, shadow IT, of starting actually developing your own tools without the supervision or participation of IT professionals. So, but it's discussed and used during the foundations courses too.
Are there courses that would offer more for research-specific skills using AI? Specifically, I'd like to learn more about AI prompts.
Yeah, definitely. That's a candidate for particularly the foundations courses. We do have actually, I always bring guest participants to the sessions. And one of the one that you're going to be actually meeting is a researcher from works in a university, and it's all the cases that he presents. I mean, which are very hands-on, is on applications on research capabilities. So definitely, I will suggest going through the foundations courses.
Are there specific hardware requirements needed to complete the certificate?
No.
Okay, that's a quick, short answer. There are lots of questions about prerequisites in this program, so I'll answer them. So all the courses should be taken sequentially within each track. Foundations is the track where you should start. So you would complete courses 1, 2, 3 foundation in that order, and then pick a track and then start with the course 1 of that particular track.
I can answer that first question from Robert. So
sure.
When we're looking at the technical pathway, those were just suggestions in a very broad bucket. So we say technical, not technical, but in the sense of, we actually have I'm not sure if the student guide's available, but there's a student guide that actually goes into more, drills down into roles, so or personas. So for instance, I am the cyber czar, or I'm the lead cyber senior manager, that type of role. We have recommended tracks. So I understand what you're saying here. So the technical pathway, which is like the broad bucket, we did not make it a requirement to take the integration and enterprise 2, which has a prerequisite of AI Foundations 3. Honestly, to be honest with you, we encourage that learners take all 3 foundations courses, from introduction, proficient to mastery level. But we also wanted it to make the technical pathway a little bit flexible, so that there would be more options to take, like Lawrence's very hands-on technical tracks, and also the cyber track. And that's why there's a little discrepancy there. It's really up to you to put your learning pathway together. So the prerequisite of AI Foundations 3. So if you are going to be taking AI Integration and Enterprise 2, you should take AI Foundations 3. I hope that answers that.
Yeah, and similarly, like the student wants to take this within 6 to 9 months, and because of the time they're offered, he wants to take they want to take part 2 and then part 1. So that's not really recommended because each course built on one and the one prior. So for example, very technical courses like cybersecurity, taking a mastery level before the beginner's level, it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, so that's the answer. We are at time, so we invite you to email us if you have other questions. We would like to learn, when do you hope to enroll in the certificate program, between now and end of summer or in the fall? And then if you can take a minute to answer the poll to give us a sense of your interest. If you have additional questions, our email is here, info.excel@ubc.ca. I know some folks who are joining us today are not in IT roles. We can email you the link, everyone, the link to the recording today, as well as link to the other AI program that we offer, AI in digital media, which might be more suited for your needs. Before we close, would any of the SMEs like to say a few words before we wrap up the session?
2 data points. I was anticipating a question coming up, but it never did. In the implementation courses, you have the ability to get hands-on on the Amazon Web Services world of infrastructure, as well as the Microsoft Azure. And so there are pretty functionally rich projects that are pre-built managed code for you for Azure's Machine Learning Studio to do a complete project that's pretty cool there, and something that's kind of similar using the competing tools from Amazon. And so just so you know, you'll have access to both of those.
Right. Ricardo, Kelly, or Anne Ray, any other last words?
I'm just excited to have you all here. And again, I was in the IT part of the university for decades. So I really like this program because it really addressed the things that me, as someone who's really busy, had always said, hey, I want to learn something, I need to upskill. And the model that was always presented to us was forced upon us. And this one was really built with the IT professional in mind. So I'm really, I hope that this will be something that that appeals to you, that will fit into your life, your lifestyle.
And just last comment, because some people may be thinking also this, like I mentioned, we use several tools, like the ones I mentioned, like Lovable Bolt, Cursor, Hugging Face, different sources. But what we tried is to identify those applications that offer a free tier, so you don't have to really spend a lot of money to take the course, but using those free tiers, that is what is available to actually go through the course. And the idea is that you start identifying them or learning about these other tools, and then you can decide on your own if you want to actually add it into your toolkit. So there's no cost associated with those tools. I mean, we always try to use those ones that offer some free tiers for you.
Thank you. Kelly, would you like to say anything before we wrap up? You don't have to, but if you do, yeah.
No, I will just say it's very exciting to see so many people here and invested and interested in this work. And that I really applaud UBC's approach in targeting specific professionals and also including this kind of cross-disciplinary perspective. I think the world will need a lot more of that kind of lateral and multidimensional thinking in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. And with that, we will close the session today. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you in the program.